he's happy, right? He's
Oh,
okay.
absolutely. Is he happy? Absolutely. He's happy because he gets to be with you. And what I need you to know is this: I did make it to heaven. I am there, and I am okay. The moment I'm connecting with your husband, he was standing right behind you. And he says to me, Matt, he says, she's grieving me every day. He's showing me you holding on to his pictures. And he says to me, there's clothing that you just took out or that you hold on to. Because he shows me you were just going through his clothes. He says, and if you tell her this, she's going to know that it's real. He says, but Matt, she can't live life like this anymore. She can't live life in this way.
He called to me. He said he didn't feel good. And he was saying, this is it, right? This is it. And he was having a heart attack, and I called 911 and they came, and they didn't do anything. It took 26 minutes for them to come.
He says to me this: the one thing that he tells me is that he wishes that you didn't have to experience that last moment with him, because you replay that again and again and again and again every single day in your head. And he says to me, Matt, because he keeps saying to me, she was with me when I died. She was with me when I died. So even though you weren't physically there, the fact that you were on the phone and you were hearing everything and hearing what he was going through and how he was laboring and everything that happened with him, he wants to thank you for giving him the chance at living here in this world. The fact that you called 911, the fact that you didn't hesitate, you got an ambulance there. He says to me that you gave him the chance to live, and he shows me that they tried to revive him or bring him back, but it was already too late. And what I have to tell you is this: when I'm connecting with your husband, this is really tough, because on the outside, he looks big and strong. But what's really tough is on the inside, he shows me that his body was like it was 70 years old when I'm connecting with him. He shows me that his heart was so weak. And even before that heart attack had happened, there was health issues that were going on with his heart, because he's showing me circulation issues. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. He shows me when I'm speaking to him, I felt like he had many heart attacks before this, or he had many heart problems before this had happened.
He had a heart attack 10 years before that, and he lived.
I believe he had too, because I'm going to tell you this. He shows me when I'm connecting with him that a big piece of his heart was not functioning and wasn't working when I'm speaking to him. He says, I was so afraid. I was so afraid of this. I was so afraid of something else happening. And he was very afraid of going to the doctors. He was very afraid of being checked out. He says, but the one thing is that day that he called you because he was scared, he was nervous, and he didn't know what to do. And you made the best decision for him. He says, but the one thing that he needs you to know is that you couldn't live life for him here in this world. You think every single day, he tells me that you hold yourself accountable. Like, what? I should have checked on him more. I should have made sure I was there. I knew something was off with him that week. And he tells me that you've been like going through and analyzing everything and looking at every single thing about when he had died. He says to me, Matt, you need to tell my wife that she's got to let it go. She has to be able to heal from this. And he's bringing this through. He also is telling me that there's family members that want to go and take you out and go places with you and do things with you, and you don't want to go because it brings up too many memories of him. And wait a minute. And he also is telling me you didn't want to celebrate Christmas this year. You didn't want to have Christmas. No. He says to me this. He says, Matt, I want her to do it for me. You know what's so beautiful? When I'm connected with your husband, he says, I'm going to tell you everything. These are his words, not my words. So please know that when I'm connecting with him, he's looking at you like the two of you were first dating here in this world. Because he's saying to me, Matt, you have to tell my wife. He goes, I was so in love with her. She was so sexy here in this world. He says, and Matt, he says, to me, he says, I was very protective because my wife was my everything, he said. And the one thing that I have to tell you is this. He says to me that he is so thankful that he passed before you. He says, because God forbid, if you died, he says, I would have never been able to live my life.
He always said that.
He tells me. Your husband says to me, Matt, when I was here, he says, I loved her so much that I was very jealous, he tells me. He says he was a very jealous guy. He was very protective over you. He didn't want anybody looking at you, to making gestures to you, touching you, anything. He says to me, but the thing is that now that I'm on the other side, he says, I'm not judging her. He says, on the other side, I want her to live her best life. And that's what he's bringing up right now, because every day you live life under the microscope. Like, oh my God, what would he think if I did this? What would he think if I did that? And listen, I'm going to be honest with you. your husband was a pain in the ass here in this world. He shows me this. You couldn't so much as change a picture on the wall without him noticing or saying something or being upset about something, because that was just his personality. And he's laughing to me. He tells me he was like grumpy when he was here. He was always grumpy. He was always pissed off. Something was always bothering him. He either had too much money, didn't have enough money. You paid the bills too early. You paid the bills. Like, he always had something to say. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
And he's so funny because when I'm connecting with him, right, he's looking back and he's just like this in heaven. I see him like this and I see him saying like, wow, I didn't even realize I was like that. Oh my God, I didn't realize I was that bad. Oh my God, I didn't realize I acted like that. And he's laughing at that. And it's funny because people were actually like afraid of your husband here in this world. Because he shows me he used to get into like little fights with people no matter where he went, whether it be at the gas station, he didn't like the guy who was pumping the gas. Like, there was always issues.
Yeah, that was him, but he was fine. We've been together since 15.
He shows me, he says to me this, he says, Matt, what I want her to know is that every day since his passing, you go back and you say, oh, well, my husband would have done it this way. Oh, I shouldn't do this because he would have done this. He says, Matt, he says, you got to tell her that she's driving herself crazy. She needs to live life the way that she wants to live life. He says, because I'm happy when she's happy. And he says, he's not there physically to be with you. He says, but I'm there spiritually every day.
He's happy, right?
Absolutely. Is he happy? Absolutely. He's happy because he gets to be with you. And what I need you to know is this: you can stop praying for his soul, because he tells me that you pray for him all the time, hoping that he made it to heaven, hoping that he's okay, hoping he's on the other side. He says, you need to let her know I am. I did make it to heaven. I am there and I am okay. What the hell is the connection to the casino? When you go into the casino?
We love to gamble, and it makes me happy. And yeah, I don't know. I'm going to Vegas in a month. with my
Hello?
girlfriend.
He's going to be with you on the trip. He just said to me, good luck at the casino. Good luck at the casino. And he says to me, Matt, he says, you got to tell her I can't make her win. Because he says to me that you'd say to him all the time. He says, he goes, Matt, my wife, she's a little bit. And he says to me, Matt, he says, you need to let her know that I'm with her no matter what. He says, and the one thing that he needs you to know in spirit is that anytime that you talk to him, whether it be out loud or in your head, he hears you. And he's also telling me on the other side this: it's going to be hard for you to go through life without him, because you spent all you've known your whole life is with him. And he's telling me, Matt, it's been so hard for her because she's saying, I don't want to be with anybody else. I don't care. I don't want to date anybody. I'm fine. He says to me, the hardest thing is that you keep going back and saying, when am I going to heal? When am I going to feel better? How am I going to get through this? Matt, you tell her that we've been together. All we know is each other. He says, and it's okay for you to cry. It's okay for you to be upset. It's okay for you to feel a little bit lost. He says, but don't give up on living your life. Don't give up on what you have. He says, because every day that you're happy, I'm happy. He goes, Matt, you don't, because he's saying to me in my ears, he says, Matt, you don't understand. We didn't spend a night apart from one another. He says, so us being away in two separate worlds, this is so hard for her. But he wants you to remember one thing, and remember what I'm telling you. Anytime that you're crying, anytime that you're upset, he's right there over your shoulder. So he can see when you cry, he can see when you're mad, he can see when you're happy, he can see all of those things. So he just said to me, Matt, you tell her not to be upset, not to worry. I'm there and with her, and I am okay on the other side.
Thank you.
Did he just recently pass?
Yeah.
He's showing me that it was a recent passing that had happened, because he even shows me there's things that you still haven't gone through of his since his departure. But I got to tell you, sometimes it takes a year's time for loved ones to come through right after their passing. But he was pushing to the front of the line so much so, because I think the other spirits are afraid of him, because I heard him say, like, listen, I have to come. I have to come and speak. I have to speak to her. So they kind of like helped him through. This just shows you about how much that he loved you, that he had to be here today.
My soulmate.
All right, I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you for being here.